From the MDR studios in Davenport, Iowa, Quad Cities, you're listening to Minor Disturbance Radio. About all things that rock and some that suck.
Daddy and Mark.
This is happening?
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, right.
Minor Disturbance Radio, this is episode 82.
80 fucking 2.
Yeah, you had to get that up.
I did, man. I've been like...
What was Nelson, this 12?
You're not supposed to talk yet. It's a surprise. We just got done doing 97X's version of Minor Disturbance Radio. We did the top 10 MDR local hit countdown, and we wanted to get that done so that we could get on to do the podcast. We haven't done one of these in, I think, a month and a half. Travis.
That's so bad.
Sickening, isn't it?
I miss it. I miss being able to cuss. I mean, I know I joke about how it's like pressure builds up, but seriously, pressure builds up inside me if I can't just talk.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
I've gotten better at, sublimating my fucking
don't
rage.
use words like that already.
No,
Come on,
I know.
You've been waiting to say
I
sublimating.
haven't. What word did I just say, Brian?
I don't know. Something like that.
Exactly.
But I understand exactly where you're coming from because, if we're going to come back after a long overdue hiatus or wait or whatever, why not come back with the one and only, finally on Minor Disturbance Radio, Chops McClintock.
Woo!
Is on MDR.
Oh, I like it. I can't help it. I can't believe I'm here. It's beautiful.
It's a very cool little space.
Oh, it looks nice.
Yeah, we had a discussion before we went on, and we were trying to decide, Chops, because you didn't know if you wanted to do this in character,
right,
or as Leonard.
Just we won't mention that name. You gotta edit
that out.
It will be Chops.
Okay,
but I'll be me.
Okay.
Right,
okay.
right.
Don't mention that name.
Yeah.
Why is he wanted in any states or something?
Yeah, you just might
Don't
be.
talk about that either.
Paternity. I'm guessing paternity suits. Paternity suits.
I'm hoping some kid knocks at my door someday because I'm going to be lonely when I'm 70.
Yeah,
if I'm living that long.
Yeah, finally.
So, and also Joe, who wants to be referred to as Joe Zeppelin because obviously he looks like Robert Plant.
Well, let me tell you something about that first. Take a good look at him, ladies, if you're watching this. You take a good look at him, and I'll tell you why we call him Zeppelin. If you're looking at him real good, his father is arguably one of the greatest lead singers that has ever walked the face of the earth. His father is actually the lead singer of the Led Zeppelin tribute band out of Ohio, and I can't believe he's here with us.
That's amazing, man. God, I'm tribute thrilled.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, the ladies like it.
Yeah.
They do.
Well,
Get a little hot in the pants.
I never really got a chance to really talk to you, Chops, until, you were in Cheese Pizza when I met you.
Right.
And there were some reasons why I was coming around to see Cheese. And by the time I actually got to have a conversation with you, because, you see a band, you didn't live around here.
No.
And when that band Cheese Pizza, I'm just going to start in the middle because there's stuff before that I want to talk about. But the band Cheese Pizza, I just remember that band being just an out of the blue, selling out clubs, just madness band, right? I mean, everybody was like, Cheese Pizza's playing, we're going to see Cheese Pizza. And I remember taking a girl with me, my girlfriend, and I was like, cool, let's go see this band that dresses in lingerie and stuff, I guess. All right, and plays disco songs, whatever. I'm in an original band, so
I'm an artist.
I'm a real, I remember driving up there and just, there's a line out the side door. And just, you couldn't get any more people in there. Luckily, I was in with the bar owner, so he let me go up to the VIP booth and watch. And I'm sitting there jealous the entire time. Because you guys are having a blast. And it's packed like a concert, and you're doing covers. And I was just like, I was blown away by how good the band was. And, I never got a chance to talk to you, though, until a few years later when I had the nerve, and I was friends with a couple guys in the band then, and I could come talk to you. And I had such a good time talking to you, and I realized that, what I might have thought you were like from the stage or whatever, because who knows? You're such a great guy. You're so nice, and you're funny, and I just couldn't wait to have you on MDR.
Well, I'm proud to be here. I can't help it. I'm proud
man.
to be here.
I was getting a little teary.
I love it,
man. That was.
Please, I got to give you something. I'm going to give you a gift.
A gift? A gift?
A gift from a friend.
Gift.
Okay.
And I wrapped it myself. Look at that.
Oh.
Look at that. I put the tissue
Oh
in
my
it.
goodness.
A
Is this for me?
smoking jacket.
Oh, jeez.
And it's my favorite color.
Oh,
That's
boy.
a gift.
Oh, thank you. He did. Look at this. It's
Yeah.
gold wrapping.
This is kind of a first. I gotta say, this is
That's
the first.
beautiful.
I can't remember.
You want me to open this now?
I want you to open that right now.
Oh boy, would you look at this? Are you?
Now, I didn't find a box big enough for it, but I like the way it looks in there.
Waka waka.
And you got to put it upside down so you can see the kiss thing.
Oh, would you look at that?
Oh, hey.
That's its Kiss golf ball.
It's a
Oh,
Kiss
man.
golf ball with a Paul Stanley star.
Kiss mini golf.
Awesome.
Oh,
That's a gift.
he
All
know-
the way from Las Vegas.
Really? He knows how.
Is that beautiful?
That touches my heart. That's gonna go right over here.
Is that what the
that
garbage?
visible?
Is there, I thought he was going for the garbage.
No. We'll put that right up here for now, and I'll find a spot for that.
That's beautiful. Oh,
Thank you very much, Chaps.
man.
What did
You're
you bring me, Joe Zeppelin?
I brought you chops.
there you go. Oh, geez, they look at her knees hurt. Over
It
there.
is.
That is the world famous, because everything's world famous.
It's a major award there. It's,
That is
I had a bed delivered. I splurged and bought a bedroom set 20 years ago. And on the truck, sitting on the back when they delivered it, was that lamp with that knee injury. And they said they had broke it. They were going to. Somebody actually bought that, and they were taking it to their place, and they broke it. And I was like, dude, I'd take that lamp, man. And they're like, dude, take it. We'll just say it shattered and we threw it away. I was like, yes. And I brought it in here, tried to fix the. I'm not very good at knee reconstruction, but that is that's a super famous piece of the MDR.
yeah, I don't
beautiful.
think that ACL is going to heal. I think that's
No way.
That's
That lamp has been in.
meniscus.
That lamp has been in the garbage 4 different times.
Not by you.
Not by me. And I pulled it back out because it's it's MDR history.
It is, man. It is,
Everybody
man.
loves the lamp.
Yeah.
I think that that was one of the set pieces in Scatman Crothers'
Scatman Crothers.
summer.
Kids don't know that.
Scatman Crothers' summer apartment in The Shining. You know, you remember that?
So Chops,
Nobody remembers that.
You just got done doing a little bit of a tour
Yeah.
with the Crank Daddies, right?
Yeah.
And was one of the last shows in Nashville, if I saw right?
Well, we just got back from what?
West Coast.
The West Coast. Yeah, and we did Wichita, New Mexico, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Flagstaff,
Albuquerque.
Amarillo.
Wow.
All of that. Am I talking too soft?
No.
And then we just got back from a little run down to Nashville and
Louisville.
The Nashville Boogie. Oh, it's a big event down there in Nashville.
Well, how long have the Crank Daddies been together?
Crank Daddies have been together since around probably 2005.
Okay. Yeah,
I started writing songs for it probably around 2004, something like that.
Right. And how would you characterize the genre of the music? Because I haven't seen you
Well,
guys, so
I like to call it raw, rip, and rock and roll.
hell yeah.
But the kids call it rockabilly or psychobilly.
okay.
But we're kind of too soft to be psychobilly, but we got an upright bass player.
I see.
So you get in that category right now because
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
You know, but
And,
we're kind of loud and obnoxious sometimes.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
Maybe we should play Johnny Cash Kicks Ass right now.
We could do that.
Yeah,
We can
let's
play
do
the
it.
video, and then people can kind of see what's up.
That video was done at like 2 o'clock in the morning in Atlanta at a club we were going to play the following day, and we got into town early to shoot this video in the basement of the club. So it was good. Shannon
Excellent.
Johnson was the gal that did that video for it. You weren't there,
I
were
was
you?
grounded then.
Oh, geez, you were grounded. He wasn't there.
Yep.
But I wrote this song, Johnny Cash Kicks Ass, like the day after he died, and I was watching the CMT stuff about him, and I'm like, and I was just upset and everything, and I was looking at this old Look magazine, because I collect these old magazines, and made me want to write this song. And I sat on the couch in 5 minutes and wrote that song.
Awesome.
So I love
Yep.
it. I love it.
You can only hear it in the phone, so if you want to really hear it.
And the phoners. Let's put the phoners on.
hear him sing, and I love to watch him play.
That's old Nutsy, our old drummer. And High Tops Ferrelli, bass player.
I see a man laying there with a gunshot to his head. Johnny Cash.
I can talk over this, can't I?
Yeah.
He was a man in black.
This is actually John Nelson's drum part.
Oh, yeah.
But I loved it when he turned and said, I'm Johnny Cash.
Nice, man.
Billy Rebel. The grand old opry never was the same. But I heard he got the boot there when he busted out those lights. One thing for sure, they never forgot his name. Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash. He was a man in black and he'd really kick some ass.
Jeez.
Johnny Cash.
That's the owner of the club, the guy that was born there.
Nice.
When he turned and said, I'm Johnny Cash.
Nice.
These record people dumped him and really
Nice
broke his
guitar
heart.
tone.
All that time and sweat and pain along the way. Then he put his finger in the air and he got a brand new start. With that long-haired bearded man raised him up again, bigger than life, Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash was a man in black and he really kicked some ass. Johnny Cash. But I loved it when he turned and said, I'm Johnny Cash. But that man in black, he really kicked some ass. That man in black, he really kicked some ass. But I loved it when he turned and said, I'm Johnny Cash.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo! Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So that was the Crank Daddies with Johnny Cash kicks ass.
yeah.
My hair okay?
So I got some nerd questions. Where'd you record it?
That song was recorded in Ottawa, Illinois. At our bass player at the time had a studio with another guy who was the singer in another band
I see.
that we were in. The band was called Slick Adams. It was kind of a pop country
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
thing.
Wasn't John Nelson playing in that band? as
John
well?
Nelson was in that band too.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
John Nelson was also the drummer for Cheese Pizza.
He was the drummer for Cheese Pizza, Slick Adams, and he was played drums on that there Johnny Cash Kicks
okay.
Ass. He played the first couple of shows with the Crank Daddies, but originally the original drummer was supposed to be Paul DeShepper.
Oh,
no
yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Paul.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta try to get a band going and get Paul and Joe back in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Paul and Joe Vianney.
Yeah.
Joe Vianney.
because Joe, I think that was Joe's actual bass playing on that song.
Was it really?
I think so. Yeah.
Those guys have
Pretty
been
sure.
in every band. They were
Yeah.
the original bass player and drummer for Catalina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were in Gross Motor. I remember those guys doing that way back.
So we're talking about the Crank Daddies now, and that's the band that you're currently in. But Chops, I want to go way back to the beginning. I mean, I think what my listeners would want to know is what made you pick up a guitar to start with. I mean, what was it that captured you?
All right. My first guitar heroes were Glenn Campbell and Roy Clark.
Excellent choices.
And
Yeah.
And so if you ever seen the show The Odd Couple, Roy Clark was a guest on there and he played
He did Malagueña.
and he played Malagueña.
Yeah.
And ever since then I wanted to learn Malagueña when I was a
Yes,
kid,
dude.
you know. And I did learn it, but not like that.
No, few people do.
But Glenn Campbell, I always thought was like the greatest guitar player. He played with everybody
He's
back
fantastic,
then. You know,
yeah.
the '60s and the '70s.
yeah.
You just record. Everybody used them. You know.
Well, yeah, a lot of people didn't really know that about him until that documentary about the Wrecking Crew came
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
People
yeah.
realized that he was, that he didn't really read in a certain kind of way. He was a more skilled instrumentalist than a lot of those other studio cats, but he couldn't read and stuff like that. He just could hear music really well and
Yeah.
do whatever he felt, man. And the guy was an amazing talent for sure.
But when I got my first electric guitar, it was kind of because of the Beatles.
Really?
And it was like and I'll never forget, it was like a Saturday afternoon, and they had Hard Day's Night on. I can't remember how old I was. Probably 7th grade when I got my first electric, and I was I gotta get a guitar like that, you know. And in the old catalogs back then, like Sears or Pennies, I can't remember.
J.C. Penney's, I think.
Yeah.
Pennies.
Yeah.
They would have like
the
$100
Beatles looking guitars.
Yeah,
and
okay.
stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, next time one of them movies comes on, I want a guitar. And I ran into my buddy or my brother's friend that very day, and he said something about a guitar. You interested in a guitar? And I was, yeah. And it was a Tisco. I don't know,
Tisco. Yeah.
And I got my guitar
Tisco.
that day. And I blew up the amp that he gave me because I plugged it in like a 220 thing.
Was it?
And it just went.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, cool.
But that was kind of it.
It wasn't Kiss? Were you ever a Kiss fan?
Kiss came, okay. When I was real young, our family, I lived in Peru, Illinois. That's where I was born. And then we moved to Arizona, Mesa, Arizona, when I was like 3rd grade, something like that. And when I was there, I got a beginner's acoustic guitar, and I never really learned how to play it. I just would hit notes on it and stuff. And then that's when I started liking Glenn Campbell and all of that, you know. But then when we moved back, and the Beatles story, that was when I first moved back to Peru, Illinois. And then I became friends with Hazley Finn and Zeppelin.
So you guys are old school. Like, you guys have hung out for like fucking years.
And then my first friend I ever had his name was Bink Kramer.
That's the name?
We used to play with rumblers. I don't know if you know what rumblers are, but they were like the motorcycle version of a Hot Wheel.
Yeah.
You know, back when we were in like before kindergarten.
Right, but they weren't the pull string kind where you like zip the lines.
Oh no, that's Sizzlers. The STPs.
Yeah. Those are the shit sparks everywhere. That was a carpet fire waiting to happen. That and the little army man with the parachute. Yeah, that's the other one.
And half the time the parachute wouldn't open.
You come crashing back there. It was great. It's great. Great fun.
When I met all these guys, and then Bink, and one day was listening to Alice Cooper, and I'm like, I think I heard that guy on the radio. It was like Alice Cooper, you know. And then when I started getting back into school from moving from Arizona, and then I started meeting all of these guys, and then I met Lee.
Hazley Finn,
and we became friends, and he would call me up one day, and he would say something like, hey, turn the radio on to whatever our station was back there. There's something on there that's really wild, and it was Van Halen. Like, wow.
Like Running with the Devil or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is that? And then I go over to his house, and that's when he started getting into Kiss and Rush, and he'd have the posters hanging up. Like, wow.
Cool.
You know, we got to do this.
Yeah.
You know?
So how long from that point was it until Nicky Fox
from that
started?
Point, it probably would have been...
I mean, Nicky Fox was your first band, right?
No,
it wasn't.
The very first band was... I mean, we had little things where we'd goof around, different friends in the garage. And then when me and Lee were probably sophomores, maybe. I think sophomores. We started a band called Essence. Don't ask me why we were called Essence, but that was the name.
I think I think that Essence is a synonym for semen.
Now I gotta look up semen. How do you say it?
It's a synonym for semen.
About sailors.
Would you like some cinnamon and sugar toast? Right. With your semen synonyms.
Cinnamon.
There you go.
But anyway, we started a band then, and but the thing is, we didn't always just do covered. I mean, we started out, playing some AC/DC and the Kiss and all that, because everybody loved Kiss.
Cheap Trick.
Cheap Trick was really, and his first ex-wife. How many times?
Yeah, I was gonna say first
wife. First ex.
Actually got us all into Cheap Trick when we were in high school.
Now, how did she manage that?
She had like a Cream magazine. Goes, hey, did you ever hear it? The band Cheap Trick?
Yeah.
And we go, who? And so that was the first time I ever heard of
Cool.
Cheap Trick from his ex-wife.
Awesome.
But, back to the beginning. The thing was, we started writing our own stuff right away.
Right away.
You know, and then we found there's one guy seen us once and recorded us in a decent studio. And he's, we were young guys and really wanting to do something. And, but I can't remember the contract that he wanted us to sign. But it turned out that, he would have, owned us.
Yeah.
Right. You know?
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah, so it never happened, the contract thing. But
So your first approach to it wasn't covers necessarily; it was writing your own stuff.
Yeah.
That's where the fork in the road is for a lot of people. And you went down the road of doing originals, and when Nicky Fox was formed, if I remember right, around here I was quite young when that happened. Not to say that you're that much.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I remember people that were a few years older than me at the time talking about Nicky Fox all the time. There was a name that came up, and it was almost in the same, it was in the same breath as Lynn Allen, or have you heard Nicky Fox? And I was like, no, I haven't heard Nicky Fox. What? Well, they're not from around here. They're from Chicago, man, and they're way better than anybody here. And
we would get excited to come around here and see Lynn Allen.
Right. Yeah.
It was like,
yeah.
wow.
Well,
Yeah.
and plus, the name was spelled Nikifoxx, so it was definitely a sleaze hair band.
Right.
And at that time, that was cool stuff, like LA Guns or a Faster Pussycat kind
LA
of vibe.
Guns is like our idols.
It's coming back to me because I remember hearing about. Come on out to blah 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 and see Nicky Fox.
Blah
right?
blah blah was one of our favorite clubs.
Yeah, it's a great place to play. And the owner, what's his name? Yeah, they just closed.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then I ain't done telling this.
No,
man.
go ahead, man.
But so then MTV, I was watching MTV around that time, and there was a band that came on, and they were called Brittany Fox, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was the band. So I'm like, Brittany Fox is from Illinois, okay. So I thought that Brittany Fox and Nicky Fox were like the same band for years and years.
Brittany Fox was to Cinderella what Megadeth was to Metallica.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or Overkill was to Metallica. I'm not even going to give Brittany Fox the credit of Megadeth because I love Megadeth.
Well, plus Dave Mustaine.
And
was
I'm not
actually
saying
in-
that Brittany Fox sucked, but it definitely, you could tell it was made from the same fucking molds
Right.
as Cinderella.
Yeah.
You had the hits with Cinderella, and now you got the singer that looks just like the singer for Cinderella, and he
Right.
sings just like him.
Yep.
He's got that grit,
Yep.
girl
Yep.
school thing.
I love Cinderella. That was one of my favorites too
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
Still one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Tom
Speaking
Kiefer's
of
still great.
Speaking of Cheap Trick and Tom Kiefer and Cinderella, the bass player from Drop Hammer, Tony, is now the guitar player in Tom Kiefer's band.
Okay, because I knew somebody from around here.
Right.
Just didn't know who it was.
Right, he was
Yeah.
in Drop Hammer with me,
That's
and then
awesome.
he went on to do that. And years after that, he
Right.
moved to Nashville. He took the plunge, man.
Oh, he lived a whole life.
Yeah, he took the plunge, and now he's playing with that. And he put up a video the other day of Xander and Kiefer was playing the Cheap Trick checkerboard guitar or whatever, and they were all up there jamming, and Tony's out there singing, the Kiefer's out there, and Cheap Tricks, and they're playing to thousands of people.
Yeah.
And I'm just, part of me is like, man, fuck him, man.
Meanwhile, Brian is crumbling inside.
No, in a way, I feel like that's part of me that did that too. I just never. Hey, look,
It is.
If
It
you
is
want
part
to
of you
cry
that did that.
about people doing that, then have the fucking nuts to ante up and do what Tony did.
Yeah, take
Word
off
up.
and do it.
He left everything behind
risked it, man.
and went out on a limb and took took the chances, and he won.
He did.
The fruit
That's
lined
awesome.
up, and he's doing what he's doing. A lot of people just sit around and bitch about, well, I could have done that, man.
Yeah.
I could have done that.
Yeah.
But you ain't brave enough to just like, you know what? I'm gonna take my $200 and my car, and I'm gonna go to Nashville and see what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, man did it.
And that's something that, Chops, you're kind of like that, because we'll skip. I'll jump all around in this this show, and it's not really an interview. It's just a talk.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're having
Yeah.
beers, talking.
Exactly.
When Cheese Pizza was the top shit, right? That band was such a phenomena around here with the gimmick and the whole thing, and we'll talk about how it started and all that. But kind of it was pretty much at its height. I mean, you guys were still selling clubs out. I remember Lee saying, you know, Chops can't play that much anymore. You know, he wants to do the Crank Daddies thing. And can you know, let's start another band, the Lust-A-Lots or whatever, on the side so he can make money, because he needed to make money. And I was wondering in my head, I was like, why in the hell would Chops walk away from that gig? You know, because I had John on before, and he told me, and he didn't want to say it on the record, but I'll say it, about how much that you guys got paid sometimes, like on a New Year's Eve or something. I mean, you guys could all stand to make a substantial amount of money, and I'm not talking about a couple $100.
Yeah.
You know, all these bar bands. I'm talking about a few thousand a piece, you know, a night. So, you know, to walk away from that, that takes balls, because I know that what you did with the Crank Daddies, and I might be speaking out of school here, but I couldn't imagine that it was making that kind of money. Right off the bat.
No.
So, I mean, what was it was it something in your heart and in your mind that you just had to, what was that?
I guess it was just, I was writing them songs for the Crank Daddies for such a long time and hoped to have the band, and then it came a few years later after I started writing songs. I always knew I wanted to have this other band, you know, and so I just had to see it through. And when you first start playing in a original band and you're writing the stuff, and you see people after a couple shows start singing this stuff, like the Johnny Cash song and everything, and people come up to you, oh, I hope you're going to play Johnny Cash Kicks Ass tonight, or yeah, baby, or this and that. And, wow.
Yeah.
That's a feeling, man.
Yeah.
That's worth a little bit more than $1,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, I mean, it may not necessarily, and forgive me if I'm talking out of school, but it may not necessarily be that the allure of the money, you know, like it is even operating in the same way as from the satisfaction standpoint, that getting out there and actually having people respond to you, even if it's a persona, because I understand, from what I understand, you put on a persona for the band, but it's yours, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and
it's kind of me too.
But it's kind of you too.
When I'm loud.
How could it not be? You know what I mean? How could it not be? You know, you're going to be yourself, even if it's a version of yourself that you concocted, you know what I mean? You'll be yourself. So, I mean, I could see trading that in. I mean, that makes sense to me.
And it's not so much that I really wanted to trade it in or whatever, but
you risked it.
Yeah, and because to this day I still love cheese pizza, and believe me, I love the money.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, but the times that we had in cheese pizza were some of the greatest times that I've had. You know.
I bet.
Well, let's get to that. I don't want to cut you off, but give me. I'm going to jump back to Nicky Fox now, because they were a successful band. I mean, you guys kind of started riding the wave a bit, right? Did you think you were going to make it?
Well, you know, you always had that in the back of your mind, like, man, they're good. Everybody else is doing it from Chicago or whatever. You know, maybe we can have the chance. So we always hoped.
Yeah, well, Lee had the voice for it. Mm-hmm. He had the screams and the real
great front man.
Yeah,
you know, one of the best.
Yeah, I never saw him in the Nicky Fox days, but I did in Cheese Pizza, and that was the first time I ever saw him. So I was kind of like, "What in the fuck is that?" You know, because kind of like in the Twisted Sister video, what is that?
Exactly.
Twisted Sister. First time I saw him come out, he had heels, if I remember this right. I could be wrong, and he was wearing like a T-bar and a mesh dress, and his nutsack was hanging out either side of the fucking T-bar. And he just come running out there like he owned the place. And we're like, hey, oh, Jesus. You know, and kind of noticing that, wow, these guys, you know, we thought we were cool because we like grew hair long and put on eyeliner. You know, these guys, you know.
We had to duct tape the sack a couple of times.
I was going to say, dude.
Because it would be ripping out of the thing or whatever. And then if you're watching him sing, sometimes you'd see a look on his face like, it's because of the tape. I got it. There it is. Yeah.
All right, so let's think back to the Nicky Fox days real quick. And maybe give me one or two of the best stories or experiences that you had in Nicky Fox. I mean, can you remember some of the shows you did? Was there anything that stood out to you that was like, wow?
I remember getting a call one morning we had a manager. His name was Barry Waterman. Excuse me. Barry called one morning and said that he got a call. What was the Jam Productions called him and said, I just got this call. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. David Lee Roth Cinderella, and what was the other band? Was there a band called Thunder back then, or I can't remember the other band. But the bass player or somebody in the other band broke an arm, and they weren't going to be able to play the show tonight. Would you guys want to do it? Yeah, we want to do it. Tell them, yeah, we'll do it. So, we got there, and right off the bat, when we got there, the guys from Cinderella were like the nicest guys you ever met in your life. I mean, they were like, hey guys, how you doing?
Cool.
I'm so-and-so. Come on in and eat with us. They had everything catered in, and we're sitting there at these tables eating with, Jeff LaBar and Kiefer and everybody, and it was like the nicest.
Back when that was cool.
Yeah.
Back when that band was hot, right?
Well, and they treated us great,
Yeah, they had every reason in the world to stand over you and be like, and harsh and judgmental, but they didn't do it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So when we played the show, we actually got to play the show. They were standing off to the side watching, and we came off the stage, and it's a nice show. And so I think it was Eric Brittingham at the end of it comes up and goes, would you guys be interested in finishing a couple of these tour dates with us? We're like, what? Yeah, we're getting on the phone. Wait, we're not coming home. We're going. And then half hour later, guys, it's not going to happen. Tour got canceled. The rest of the tour got canceled. Lack of ticket sales.
Oh.
We're like, what?
No.
Lack of ticket sales.
So
and then when David Lee Roth came in that night, security threw us all out. Okay, guys, you got to go. You can go into the locker room outside over here and hang out if you want. But nobody was allowed backstage when David Lee Roth came in.
Now you remembered. Oh yes, we're from Peru.
Yeah. What year was that Nicky Fox was hopping?
90, 91.
That's when I graduated high school. It was in 91. And I don't, we always talk about the glory days, of rock and roll, just in general, of playing clubs and playing music. Would you say that era was different than now? See, that was I said that very lightly because I knew I already know the fucking answer. Okay, I'm trying to sneak some stories out of chops.
I'll tell you this: if you were playing at the Thirsty Whale in Chicago, and if your load-in was 5:30, 6 o'clock, and you pulled up there was already girls out there waiting, and the show don't start till 10, but there's people, they're out there waiting for you.
Wow.
It's like, whoa, ooh, and then the singer from Bang Tango, or the guitar player from Bang Tango walked up. Hey, do you know where I can get a good steak around? I'm like, oh, that's the guy from Bang Tango. Holy crap, he's asking where we can get they got a hot dog place next door, but I don't know where you can get steak.
Somewhere that guy's on a podcast going, I remember when they used to say, there's that guy from Bang Tango.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I haven't been called that in 20 years.
Yep.
That guy from Bang Tango.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
But that was the whole thing is, like I said, I graduated in 91. And I prepped myself the entire time. My sisters were older than me, so they were friends with all these rocker guys, right? And they would all talk about how it was. Oh, dude, when because I was playing guitar then. Dude, you get that down, grow that hair out a little bit, the world is yours. And I was like, damn right. So I was in my bedroom, planning to take over the planet.
Yeah.
Because look at this. Yeah. I'm ready. I got some ripped up jeans. I got some long hair now. I learned how to wear a tank top, and like maybe grow a couple chest hairs, and got out there. And I was like, I remember coming out in like 1991 when I graduated, ready to rock. Let's get this going. And right about then, the TV went, ding, ding, ding,
I was going to say, and somewhere in the boreal forests in the American Northwest in Washington State, Kurt Cobain at that exact moment was being bullied by a guy who looked just like you.
Yeah. So it immediately flagged. I mean, I'm watching, it's like studying for a test, and then they're like, yeah, we're not taking that test.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Exactly. No, that test is over.
We're switching.
We're not running that race anymore.
We're doing Common Core now, so hope you're ready for that.
Exactly. It was a foot race. It's a bicycle race now. All your training is worthless.
Yeah.
No, but I was going to ask about that because lack of ticket sales. David Lee Roth, pretty big name.
Yeah.
Lack of ticket sales.
And that,
So that must have been like right around the time that
I think
stuff was
so.
falling
Well,
apart.
yeah, definitely. That particular show was at the Five Seasons Center in Cedar Rapids, and there was over 5,000 people in there, but it was a big place, so it didn't look like it was totally packed. But
Yeah.
Well, you have to understand though.
Yeah.
They used to measure that if they canceled the tour, the rest of the tour, because of lack of ticket sales, that means that David Lee Roth probably wouldn't play the show unless the pre-sale met what he wanted.
Well, yeah.
And then the venue would probably pull the plug, not the tour itself. The venues would be like, well, look, we didn't pre-sale enough to pay what David Lee Roth is asking for off the top.
Right.
You know, so that's probably what it was. And you might have sold it the day of or a couple days before, but, you know, that
They weren't willing to
happens a
risk
lot.
it. They weren't willing to
'Cause
risk
I've
it.
heard of that before where they're, you know, they want their pay before they even show up. So the pre-sale has to be right. So they're paid before they even bring gear in.
Yeah.
So I know that it's been
Right.
like that before.
But I mean, you know, Van Halen got paid like what, $1.2 million to play the US Festival.
Yes, festival, yeah.
To go from that to lack of ticket sales, cancel remaining dates on tour. I mean, there's definitely, you know, the plane is going down. You know, there's not going to be any survivors.
But you got to live that for a while. I mean, Nicky Fox, you know, you had at least a couple good years of before girls were like, "Oh, you're a band guy." That was cool like 2 years ago, right? Because I remember everybody tells me that was out in the scene before I was. The guys that I looked up to, you know, they're like, "Oh, dude, once you get out playing, it's fun." And I was like, "Cool," and I went out and played, and people were like, "What is this crap?"
Yeah.
You know, nobody has time for this. We want to see
Exactly.
you need to put a flannel shirt on and let your hair get greasy, or else you know. You remember it used to be like, I'm in a band, and the girl's like, "Oh, really? You play guitar?" And now it's like, "Oh, gross. You're probably gonna want money or something,
Yeah, right.
and a place to stay."
Exactly. somebody with a car and a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
it just
true.
flags so quick for me, and then
Yeah.
I'm trying to recuperate and like grab onto anything on the ledge without falling off. I'm like, what am I going to do now? You know, and I was like, look, this is who I am. I play guitar and I sing clean, and I'm a metal guy. You know, I don't know anything else. I can't fake it. You know, I couldn't go on to a new genre to try to fit in with whatever it was. I just couldn't do it.
Right.
So that's then, of course, that begs the next question for me, which is, okay, after that event, then how long did Nicky Fox stay together after that?
Well, I'll tell you what. In '91 is when I can't. I'm not supposed to. I don't think I wasn't kicked out.
Yeah, I wasn't kicked out.
I
Just rehearsed without you.
yeah.
You're right.
Our manager at one point came up. We were practicing at Lee's house, and he said, "I gotta have him talk with you." You know, the other guys are inside, and he said, "We're gonna start turning the solos over to Brian." You know,
Not this Brian.
not this Brian Martin, and Brian Strutter at
Okay.
the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love you, Brian. He said because he played faster.
Okay.
Right.
You know, I was more of like, let's say, like a Joe Perry, you know, bluesier style, or
And Ace Frehley, not a
Some-
Vinnie Vincent.
right, exactly.
See, I only speak in
exactly.
Kiss terms.
Yeah, exactly. If it can't be reduced to a Kiss metaphor, and Brian doesn't understand it.
Well, all my Kiss
Yeah.
lovers understand that.
Right.
Yeah.
So now they
Well,
know.
Brian and I were sitting in our rooms, friendless, practicing scales, just so that we could get the solos turned over to us.
Right,
so
right.
we were on the other side of that equation.
Yeah.
So that's when things started happening, you know, and I was I did a lot of songwriting for the band, you know, but we all contributed to that anyway. But so I started losing a little bit of the solos, which I was fine with. I didn't really care. I cared, but I was like, all right, well, I can still
This is
get
what
the
I
ones
gotta do. Yeah.
that I got, and people like the songs, so we're still going to play them songs every night.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't taking them away from me,
Right.
but and then just so happened to, you know, why ain't we having practice today? Well, all right, and then I go to the practice spot, and they're
there.
having practice, you know. So
Practicing, yeah.
anyway,
That's a pretty passive-aggressive way of doing
But you
handling
and
things.
okay, so Lee couldn't have been behind that. You guys were like best buds, right? He couldn't have. You thought that he'd have been like, well, we can't do that to Chops.
Well,
He might have been complicit.
Maybe.
He might have been complicit in a business decision that got sold to him as an impersonal, non-personal affront to, you know what I mean?
it
Like,
might have been as a unit and management type of thing. I'll say that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say
And
that.
but it also kind of reeks of desperation when you start messing with the formula, whatever it was that was working.
It was a good formula.
Yeah, it means that somebody thinks, oh, we need to do something because the ship's going down. It's the solos, dun dun dun.
Yeah, it's always some outside force that doesn't, that always fucks it up.
It is.
You know?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
And they're
right.
like, well, we need somebody that can shred. That's why
That's
we're
what
not
we
double
need.
platinum
That's what
right
we
now. We need a shredder.
Shredder.
And that's
like-
right around the time some of the shredding was stopping.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, but
Right.
Of course, it's
know.
a move in the wrong direction because it's the wrong fucking motivation. They're
But
not
I don't
thinking
think
about the music.
Nikki Fox could have never transferred into like the Alice in Chains type
Well,
thing.
in a way,
Not with the history with the name Nikki Fox.
right? They
'Cause they don't
changed
come
to
up.
drug. They changed the name to drug,
Okay.
and they started their music started to get a little more darker, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was good. Believe me, it was. I don't know if you ever heard any of it, but they had some really good stuff.
Cool.
Okay,
it
so-
might have been along the grunge.
Like Manson-ish
Like-
type stuff, maybe?
No, that was later.
Okay.
That came later. When
Okay, I don't want to cut you off, but I'll tell you my experience of the drug thing. Tony Higbee, who is now playing with Kiefer, and I, were trying to put together a band called Drop Hammer. And we were at Griggs Music looking at guitar straps, and in comes John Nelson. And he is, and I got to say, John
Looking at
Nelson has
guitar straps.
always been one of my favorite drummers. I've loved that guy ever since the first time I saw him, just because of his demeanor, his professionalism. He knew how to tune his drums. He had his cymbals shined up. He was on it, and that's the kind of fucking drummer I wanted. I didn't want the butthole that carried the whole drum set in one stack. You know what I mean? And it threw it down. It was like, shit, I forgot my hi hat in the back of the truck. Hold on. It was all professional, and so I've always liked that guy. And Tony and I kind of looked at each other like, we kind of want John Nelson. Mm-hmm. We want to go after him. And we saw him at Griggs. He came in and, he's like, kind of, he knows he's John Nelson at the time. I mean, come on. And we're just a bunch of, by now we're wearing flannel shirts.
Right,
because that's cool, right? But still long hair. So we're trickster. We look like trickster.
Trickster. Yeah.
Right, trickster.
Yeah.
Tony might have had his tied around his waist too.
Oh man. Oh man.
So
With a flannel shirt on.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah.
yep, we didn't know what to do. So and we go up to John. We're like, hey man, you playing in any bands or anything? And he's like, yeah, dude, I'm playing with this dude from Chicago. His name is Lee. The band's called Drug. He's like, we're planning on like doing, like Madonna songs and disco songs, man. This is right before it turned into Cheese. Mm-hmm. And Tony and I were like, we were laughing our ass off. We got in the car, we're like, what? That's so stupid. They're gonna play stupid ass disco songs and they're gonna dress up and oh man, that's gonna flop.
Well, I'll tell you how it came about.
You guys did not understand.
We
the
did
minds
not
of young
understand
women.
at all.
Here's
You're talking
how
about
it
being
came
like,
about.
Young women. That's what he missed.
They were gonna start another band called No Longer Human,
okay.
and that was gonna be more of an industrial style thing, Manson, Nine Inch Nails type of thing.
Okay.
And
Well, he called it Drug at the time. He said it was called Drug.
yeah, Drug was, like I said, the end of the Nicky Fox thing, and then they were Drug, and then they wanted to start this newer music that they were going to start writing when John got in to the band, but they said, we don't got enough money to record this stuff.
Right.
Let's start this cover band and do this wild, Casey and the Sunshine Band stuff and whatever for like 6 months and make some money.
Right.
And at that time, this guy who was like a hero of mine, Al Shupp from back home.
He's the bass player.
He was the bass player. And he was in bands years ago. Before that, then I go see him and I go, oh my God, this guy's the greatest. And he called me one time and he said, yeah, are you looking for a bass player for your other... This was a band I was in now called The Fuzzy Grapes. And he said, if you're looking for a bass player, I'm interested in that. And I go, oh my God, it's
Al.
It's
Al.
And I'm like,
Al.
no, we're not looking for a bass player.
Oh,
But
Al.
Lee is. I said, Lee Pakula is. And he goes, oh, give me his number. And so he got involved with it.
Right.
And that's after that they said, let's start this band and see if we can make some good money going in and record. When that started,
That was it,
The
man.
recording, everything stopped
They were
because
hooked.
Well, take me take me into the room that all four of you guys are sitting there. Was there a strategic game plan talked about, like, okay, we're all gonna dress up crazy because Lee dressed like a cross-dresser. Mm-hmm. You were dressed kind of like you do now.
Yeah.
But you weren't Chops then, were you? You were Vinny.
I was Vic the Grip Benelli. Vinny was at I was Vinny in another band.
Okay.
I was Vinny the Clamp Janelli and the Swinging Janellis.
All right.
Another story.
All right.
Oh, man.
Okay, so take me in that room.
Was it gelato?
Was it a planned out thing? Did you do it? Did you dress rehearse it?
No. To be honest, I think Lee said, "Oh, I think I'm going to dress in drag," and I go, "No kidding," that type of thing. I didn't know it was John.
Do what you're gonna do.
I didn't know what John was going to do. That he was going to come in a teddy.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I'll figure something out." And it wasn't like, "Okay, you're going to do this and you're going to do
Right.
that." It was like, "Oh, I got what I'm going to do," and I got some leisure suits, and started doing the leisure suit thing. And Al just started doing his own thing. Al just looks cool anyway. He can put a hat on and just stand there, and he looks cool. But it wasn't really planned quite like that, like people might think. It was just kind of like, "Oh yeah, that's neat, you're gonna wear that, okay."
Well, that was the first time that people around here saw that. Yeah. I mean, I think that the timing of that band and this area, and I know you played a pretty good circuit, but in this town and surrounding towns like Muscatine and even probably where you're from, Peru, they are not ready for that. They hadn't seen what was that band that was doing all them covers. They were kind of around the same time. Everybody compares Cheese to them. I can't remember what they're called, but
Me First and the Gimme.
Yeah. Nobody.
We didn't even really know. I never even heard of them yet at that time.
Well, let's put it this way:
I think they started the same year Cheese did. To be honest,
the way that you guys were doing stuff was the way that it should have been done. I was like, finally, somebody's playing it with some fucking vigor, and up tempo, and John. Him on drums. It just that band was awesome. I mean, the first set. I'm not saying that because you're here. I'll tell anybody. When you went to see Cheese Pizza in the beginning years, when it was a new thing, the Cheap Trick set was the best part of the night.
Oh yeah, we loved it. We loved playing it too.
And he did a great AC/DC as well. I mean, Lee's voice was very versatile, and it had this aura about it of like rock star.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, "Hey, we're some kids from down the street. This next song is by a good band." It's like, no, he came out and put a fucking bottle of Jack Daniels on the front of the stage and said, "Everybody come up here and fucking drink." And then you guys just started playing. But the music stood up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have to wear negligees and shit. That was a good band. And then that break.
And
then
we wanted to play loud too. And
it was loud. Yeah. It was loud. And then when the Cheese Pizza part, well, it used to be Cheese Pizza and the Swellingtons.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, who's supposed to be the Swellingtons? Not that, but the Cheap Trick. We can't be the Swollen. Let's just be Cheese Pizza.
Right.
But yeah, the Swellingtons. A lot of people don't even remember that.
I do, because it was on an ad for Screamers, because it was like, "Friday night, welcome Drop Hammer. But forget about that. Saturday night is Cheese Pizza and the Swellingtons. And I was like, son of a bitch. Anyway, we played to 25 people. You guys played to 2,500. No big deal. But I remember, I just got to tell this real quick. I remember the first time that my ego gave way, because I was insanely jealous of the crowds and the party, because that's what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted to go out and play in a bar and have that reaction. Yeah. And nobody was getting it but Cheese Pizza. And then all of a sudden, everybody wanted to be, let's do what Cheese Pizza's doing. Mm-hmm. We're dressed, and then they ended up looking like dicks, trying to emulate something that you can't really copy.
Right? Yeah.
It's a second generation off brand. It's like hamburger
Hamburger partner.
Hamburger helper.
Hamburger partner.
Hamburger partners.
Wash it down with some hee haw. Some Dr. Thunder.
Yeah.
Diet Dr. Thunder.
I've been in a couple Diet Thunder bands.
Yeah, right.
But
Diet Thunder band.
Yeah. But I just know that you guys had this whole thing going, and what was I getting at? Oh, the first time I just gave it, I remember I was at Screamers and you guys were doing your thing, and probably about 4 beers and 2 shots of whiskey, and a buddy of mine and I looked at each other and we were like, there's no fighting it, man. There's no fighting it. And we ran out into the dance floor and just started dancing and jumping up and down. Yeah. And we're like, just let it go, man. It's okay. We're okay here.
They were crying. They were like, finally.
And, you know, we had a good time. And we both were like, you know what? They're a good band. They did something right, and they're doing what we wanted to do. But why do we have to stand here like this about it?
Right.
Why can't we just have a good fucking time?
Have fun.
And so I remember that happening, and then from then on, I was like, you know what? Hey, if you want something like that, come up with your own formula for it. You know, you're either going to do it or you're not. So Cheese Pizza was a big part of teaching me about entertainment. Mm-hmm. It didn't have so much to do with musicianship, even though you guys were a great band. It had to do with that somewhat, but it was the entertainment part of it that packed the club.
Yeah.
Them chicks that dance in the front don't give a shit if you do the solo right or if Lee knows the words. They want to be entertained. Exactly. And you guys did that, and that was something missing from my formula.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I was a huge Kiss fan.
Yeah.
I just was like, oh, I thought this was entertaining enough, you know, like just look at long-haired guys in leather pants whipping their hair around, you know, hitting arpeggios and stuff. I thought that was it, because that's, in the videos, the girls are, right?
No, that makes young dudes go,
Yeah. Well, we all know that now. I'm just saying what taught that to me was bands like Cheese Pizza.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, well, actually, in particular, Cheese Pizza, because, like I said, I had to learn that by having it slap me in the face. And then years later, okay, actually, it wasn't years later. It was years before that. Another time, a very early incarnation of what Cheese became. John Nelson invited me over to Nick Abbott's house. Do you remember Nick Abbott?
Nick Abbott.
Yeah, he was in Wrecking Machine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
With John. Anyway, they brought me over to his house, and Tony Higbee. We come over there, and they're putting some band together, and we're like, finally, we get to play with John. And John goes, show me an original riff. And I was like, you bet. And he was like, all right, we're done here. I swear to God. He was like, oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, I think that we're going to keep on talking to people and stuff. And I played good.
Yeah. It wasn't about that.
They didn't want it. He was hoping that I would have played just some interesting chords together or something. Yeah. I don't know what he was fucking looking for, but I knew that I was trying to be in a band with John Nelson, and John Nelson was that kind of a drummer, I thought. So, and they were like, well,
he can be any kind of drummer he needs to be.
We'll keep Tony, but you can go. You know what I mean? And I was like, bummer. So, you know, there went that. And then, you know, of course, years later, after you're in Cheese Pizza and you decide to do the Crank Daddies more often, then my chance came where Lee calls me and he's like, hey, Chops can't play that much, so can you be, and he wanted to start the Lust-A-Lots.
Right.
And then I utilized me for that, and we had to come up with characters again. And I remember telling him, I was like, Lee, this is not Cheese Pizza, man. You can't do this. Everybody that comes to see the Lust-A-Lots is going to immediately compare that band to Cheese Pizza. You know, and he's like, oh, no, it'll be a totally different thing. It'll be this and that. Okay, so we're playing weird songs dressed up like characters.
He's still wearing a dress.
He's still wearing what he kind of did in Cheese Pizza, and they're not going to compare it to Cheese Pizza. And I said, here's what I would do if I were you. And this was my idea in the situation. Hope I'm not boring everybody.
No, it's cool.
But I told Lee, I said, look, people readily identify with the name Cheese Pizza. Okay? Just be honest with people and say, there's Cheese Pizza, and then there's Cheese Pizza 2. And that could be with fill-in guys. Different characters, maybe. And promote it as that. Say Cheese Pizza 2 is playing at whatever, and still use the name Cheese Pizza, but respect Chops and Al. But I said, you can't call it Cheese Pizza. It's got to be like Cheese Pizza 2, because I am the guitar player in it now, and there's no fucking way that I'm going to stand up there and act like I'm like Chops. You know, I knew that from the top.
Right.
And everybody was telling me, like, you ain't going to be no Chops. People are going to hate you. And I'm like, well, I agree. No, I would hate me too.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I didn't want to be there. I wanted that money, and I wanted that party. But I did not want to have to go up there and try to do it. Are you going to do the beer swig thing? Are you going to slam a beer while you... I'm like, hell no. I'm not going to do that. Are you kidding me? I don't want to get beat up, you know. So you understand where I was on that thing? So I was just like, wow, Chops can't do it. I mean, just have fill-in guys or whatever, but keep the name Cheese Pizza, but like make it so that people can identify it's not the original band. Cheese Pizza 2 and then Cheese Pizza, so that they knew which band are we seeing.
Right.
And I got to be honest, I love Jerry Smith. He was in Drop Hammer with me.
Oh, yeah.
Great bass player, one of the best around. Great singer, great everything.
Good hair. He's got the hair.
He does.
Great hair.
He does great hair.
Oh, he's got the hair. Oh, Jerry's got the hair.
Yeah. we got to do the cheese pizza thing for a while until certain females fucked it all up. But it wasn't the same anymore.
Nah, it wouldn't be.
And I could feel that, and I can tell that Lee was panicking, probably because the crowds weren't the same. You know, the money wasn't the same. I fucking remember a gig in Pawpaw or something.
A bowling alley you guys played or something that night?
Oh God, there was 2 people there drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, and looking at us like, what the hell's this crap? And we're like, oh shit,
It's a party.
Lee didn't care. He was still dressed up the way he was dressed,
All right.
and it still went down. And I was just like, this sucks. I mean, but then Lee's wife, or girlfriend at the time, she kept saying to me, I can't wait for Chops to come back. And I'm like, look, man, I just fucking playing guitar for a gig. She hated me. She hated me from the get. I don't know why. Maybe it's because my wife is hot. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but that they didn't blend, so I couldn't. I just told Lee I can't do it anymore. I want to have fun with my friends. You know, at first Lee and I we hung out and listened to music, and we were having a great time. I was like, finally, I get to be friends with him. I mean, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
You know, when he's Lee, I like that guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Me
Great
too.
conversation. He's funny. And the kibosh got put to that by, you know, his woman. I'll just say it clear.
Outside forces, right? Politically correct.
His woman. And you know what? Good for him. He stuck with family and whatever. And I just remember the choice having to be made.
Yeah.
You know, I remember this is what the deciding factor was for me. We were standing at Route 61 here on Brady Street after a Lust a Lot show. And Lee come up to give me my money or whatever it was. And he goes, all right, well, here. And Danelle and I, my wife, are standing there talking to him. We're laughing about something, you know. And he kind of goes, hey, me money. He looks at the door and he goes, I can't talk to you guys anymore. I got to go over here. Here's your money. And we're like, why can't you talk to us? He's like, and he just kind of walked away. It's because his wife told him he can't talk to me.
Oh my good God.
And I'm in his band. Okay? So that, to me, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sell anybody out. This is a fucking truth. Mm-hmm. I looked at the money, and I looked at my wife, and I was like, I'd rather play, you know, Tom Petty songs to 20 people.
Yeah.
And be with my friends.
Yeah.
You know, to where our wives are all having drinks and we're all having a good time. Fuck
or even
this.
if you don't like each other, at least you could be civil. I mean, that's just not being not being particularly
And I
civil.
couldn't believe, of all people on the planet, that Lee Pakula, Hayes Lee Finn, let that happen. Let it happen. And I was like, wow.
That's tough, man. Rocking a hard place. I mean, I've caved to my bandmates on a number of occasions. Thank goodness they've forgiven me, you know, because of stuff my wife was upset about, you know, and it just amounts to I hadn't quite figured out how to fight with her yet. You know what I mean? And you just got to figure out how to fight with your woman. If you don't know how to fight with her and you both run away all the time or give in and acquiesce when you shouldn't, then it's going to make it so when something really serious happens, you've got no skills to negotiate with each other when you're both pissed off and pretty sure the other one's fucking you over. You know, you need to have that in your toolbox, man. Fight. Learn how to fight.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Fight with your wife.
He don't have a wife.
Yeah, I don't have one.
Yeah.
One thing about you don't have to worry about that, do you?
He has built he's built his life in a way that he can do his craft without any obstacles, per se.
Sometimes I wonder if I did the right thing or not, but I'm still playing, and I love it. Get to tour now. You know, I'm getting older now. I'm finally getting out touring, seeing the country, and you know, probably be going to Europe hopefully soon. But
well, that's one thing I wonder too, because you know Tony Higbee, we were talking about, he did the same thing. He did get married, but he didn't have any kids. He hasn't yet. And he doesn't plan to, because it would definitely be more difficult to do them types of things. Trust me, take it from me, I know. I have too. But I remember making that decision in my heart and in my mind. I'm like, okay, Brian, do you see yourself, continuing to do this whole thing and giving up on something else, or should you lay the foundation for this new thing as this other thing fades out? And that's when I found Minor Disturbance Radio, and I was like, I can have it fucking both. You know what I mean? I don't have to be out on tour or whatever, but I can still talk rock and roll and do what it is that I enjoy about being in a band, which is chatting with buddies and talking about shop. So I found a way to make it work and have both, but doing what you're doing, there's no way I could do that. I would be single, and I wouldn't have, my wife would never let that happen.
My daughter graduates high school in like a couple years.
World tour!
World tour, dude. We're gonna, seriously. I'm going. I'm fucking going, man.
Yeah.
I'm back.
I love it. So, I mean, what was it like for you, though, when you were in Cheese, to see a packed house like that? I mean, what were you thinking?
I'll tell you, we played, what was it, Third Street Live in Cedar Rapids? Is that the place, 3rd Street? I think it was called.
Yeah, 3rd Street Live. I remember that.
The upstairs one.
Big Dogs. Yeah, 3rd Street Live.
We had the show that night, and there was a place called Muddy Waters down by the river, and the owner of that place originally had us come play a party at Muddy Waters, and then he said, the place ain't big enough to hold the crowd. We're gonna have it over at 3rd Street Live.
Awesome.
So the next time he said, the show's going to be up there, but I want you guys to come to Muddy Waters and eat with a nice eating place. They had good clean sit downs too. You could get in there, boop. And so we went there, and he said, and then after, we're going to do a meet and greet here. Then we'll have the limo take you up to 3rd Street Live. And Lee's like, we're not fucking doing that. There's not gonna be nobody at Muddy Waters anyway. I'll meet you guys or whatever. However, he wasn't gonna do the meet and greet, and he didn't. And of course, he was right. Nobody was there anyway. But he didn't know that we went out and bought a blow-up sex doll.
Yes.
And the night before, we took one of his dresses out of his bag and dressed it up. So he was there. We had him sitting there. And it's in a video, and you can hear crickets going.
I think I saw that one.
Yeah. and then I was, you're right again, Buck. Nobody's. Yeah. That's back when he was Buck Sundeck.
Yeah.
Buck Sunday.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So we get in the limo, and we go up to 3rd Street Live, and we pulled up, and there was no place to even pull in.
Really?
And the crowd was a block down the street.
Wow.
We're like, what? Are you sure this is where we're playing at? And then it was like the only crowd, they said something like that the only band that had a crowd that big was Seven Dust or something like that.
Right.
We're like, man.
You hit a nerve, man.
And you walk out on the stage and you look up at the balcony and you're like, what?
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
It was unbelievable.
At one point when I started this show, I bought an Avalon preamp. And I'm getting somewhere with this. It cost me $1,400, okay? And I remember plopping down the $1,400 bills to buy this Avalon 737 or whatever mic pre. I'm like, Jesus. And I'm like, okay, I'll recoup that at some point. I need this good input for this radio voice. And I wanted to record good vocals, so I bought that. Next day, Jerry Smith calls me, and he's like, yeah, we played in Cedar Rapids last night. I was like, man, don't even tell me what you made.
I got a story to tell you that, too.
He goes, I made $1,400.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was so mad because I was like, dude, I could have played one gig for an hour and a half and paid for whatever,
Yeah.
But I had to, I was so upset because nobody makes that kind of money.
I think it was a little more than that. But anyway, we was counting the money out that night. And he goes, hey, Chops, go call Jerry up here. Tell him to come pick up the money, his money. And I say, hey, Jerry, come on up here, get your money. He comes out there and, how much is here? This for the whole band? Is this the whole band's money? It was like $1,700 there is what it was. this ain't just mine. It's for everybody, right? No, that's yours.
No way, man.
It was like,
Like, why can't we do this every day?
Oh,
thought that
man.
was
Yeah,
gonna happen.
right.
Yeah, that's just your money.
Yeah, and that was pretty exclusive to the Cedar Rapids show, though. That wasn't everywhere, right?
No.
Well,
Yeah.
what was it about? How was it? Was it word of mouth? I mean, what was the promotional engine? I mean, how did it catch fire?
I kind of think it was, you
Yeah?
know, word of mouth. And then
Yeah.
some guy got his head run over one time at the pig pen after Lee handed him the bottle of whiskey.
Oh yeah.
And then, wow, this guy got, put in the hospital after the show, and people started talking about that. But the one thing that really kind of got us going around Iowa was when we were playing the pig pen. I think it was the first time, and it was doing the show with Great White, LA Guns, whoever else was doing that show. And it was outdoors. It was a pig stock.
Right.
And
I
so
remember.
we're all set up, and we're out there, and we're playing. We're getting ready to play, and we had pyro at the time. I mean, flash pots, gerbs. We had the whole thing.
Right.
And we had a chef, a guy who would come out and, hand out hot dogs to everybody.
Yeah, I remember.
And then the local strip joint brings like 8 girls to dance on stage with us for a couple songs.
Yeah.
And now, like, what's his name? Jack
Russell.
Jack Russell, not the dog, the terrier. That's the dog, right? It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
The singer of Great White.
Right.
Yeah, he's like out there. No, that band ain't used. That's pyro. They're not using pyro.
Yeah.
So, okay, couldn't use no pyro.
Oh my God, man.
What are these girls standing back here? And, well, they're gonna dance. They're strippers. They're gonna dance for the opening act. No, they're not. None of that. So he took all of them out. We couldn't have none of that. So we get up there, and we're 4 songs into it. It's One Way or Another was our 4th song.
Yeah.
And we're playing. I'm going, what the hell's going on? I'm not jiggling my cord. I'm not getting them.
Yeah.
I'm getting my pedal
Yep,
down here.
yep.
Al's over there hitting his bass, I turn
wrong?
around, and there's my amps being rolled off the stage.
Yeah.
They took us. We're still
Yeah.
playing.
I remember
and they're
that.
rolling stuff
Yeah.
off.
I saw that. I was at that
You
show.
were there?
I was at that show because I was, that was one of the things I was going to bring up. Is like I saw Cheese Pizza play like exactly 3 songs because there and it involved. I remember when they were like, we're pulling the plug because I think sometime in that moment the chef had come out and put a hot dog or a hot dog bun in Lee's ass crack.
Oh.
Right? And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right? Like
That's
in the crack
believable.
of his ass, right? Like it, I don't know, like he was, using it as a holder.
And then fed it to somebody in the audience?
Well, see, and I don't know about that. I would have thought it would have been an oversalted piece of meat at that point, but
I just remember the most brilliant thing about the show was throwing out bologna sandwiches towards the end because I was starving.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't care who made them, though.
Yeah.
Lee made them
Come to find out, Lee,
sandwiches.
yeah, because I remember he brings a whole cooler full or bag full.
Yeah.
He's like, "Here's all the bologna sandwiches for you guys to throw out." And I'm like, "Oh, you make them mustard and he even put mustard on them." I was like,
And
"Damn,
Miracle Whip?
I can't remember. I think it was
Craft
just
single?
mustard,
Craft single on there?
just something to hold them together."
Ah.
They were good though.
Yeah,
They were
hey,
good.
shit out of him. It's
He
good
made,
drunk
he
food.
made them sandwiches. He made
Now,
them with
who
love.
comes up?
Made 'em
Who
with
comes
love.
up with that kind of shit though? Guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna open with Kung Fu fighting. I'm gonna dress like a woman. Drummer's gonna wear a negligee, get a leisure suit, and
Yeah.
and I'm gonna make some bologna sandwiches. We'll throw out.
No, I don't think you can achieve that sort of thing with any kind of central planning. I think really it has to be just the pure alchemy of people just happening to have some dumb shit that they can bring
Well-
that collides in just the right way.
The original thing with having a chef was a friend of ours, John Jr., this friend. I told him, I said, you should come to the show and be a part of it and cook hot dogs and we'll hand them out. And that wasn't really working. Then my good buddy, John Uriski, who became the chef, he wanted to do it. And he said, I'm going to go buy a chef suit, hat, and everything. And so he became the chef.
Fucking
Yeah.
Pasquale.
And I said something, I can't remember what it was. Dave the Gay Cowboy, if you remember this, let me know how it happened. But I kind of came up with the cowboy idea for him or something like that. And then he went and got the suits made up, and then Dave the Gay Cowboy started coming out.
That's when it got real nasty.
He was beautiful.
It was beautiful. I was like, that's another one of them things that I'd have never done.
It's a wrinkle.
If somebody would have brought that up, and I'd be like,
that's a bad idea. We're not doing that. Yeah.
Every time he'd come out on that stage, I'd die.
Yeah. And then sometimes I'm playing, I'm like, wish we had a gay cowboy.
Yeah, right.
Then there was a couple times the gay pilot would show up. A guy, he'd put like a pilot thing on with the glasses and come up wearing something goofy. The gay pilot would be there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
And the Hooters. But the good thing about we got to see a lot of fun bags. Hooters, everything.
Yeah, that was part of the show that my wife was a little concerned about when she's like, "So you're gonna go be playing with Lee from Cheese Pizza?"
That kind of dropped off a little bit, though.
I had no idea, but I was like, "Please, just tonight, just don't anybody get their tits out in front of me. Just let me play a couple gigs. My wife's here. Don't be stupid. I want this money. I want this gig." And to come to find out, there was no worries about that.
Yeah.
Because by that point, because I'd heard the stories. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. We used to do whipped cream.
They're whipped creaming them and shrink wrapping at the same time, wrapping two girls together in whipped cream. And that Lee that was doing that is gone.
Yeah.
And that's part of why the excitement and the danger. I think it's the danger of cheese.
Absolutely.
You didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
It was going to be on two wheels, and it was going to do something borderline illegal, and you were going to have a good time. But that once you took that element out, it just wasn't the same.
Yeah, you couldn't civilize it and have it be itself anymore, man.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, can't do it.
There was one time, and it didn't last many shows, but Lee got a hold of a wedding dress, and so we started doing Madonna's "Like a Virgin" and one other one, I can't remember what it was. But while he would go put this dress on, like in the middle of the show, I wrote this song called "He's a Bitch, Man," and it was all about Lee being a bitch. But it was called "He's a Bitch, Man." So it was perfect timing, because by the time the song was over, he'd come out and he'd have do the "Like a Virgin." He had this big, huge lollipop, and he'd be licking it. It was funny.
That is funny.
But that had to have been a great time, man.
Yeah, but there wasn't a lot of places where he could switch into the outfit to get back quick enough to the stage, so it didn't last that long. But oh my God, it was funny.
Okay, so I'm sensing kind of another pattern here, which is that as time has worn on, then in your musical career, you've incorporated more and more humor as a central theme in your music. I mean, listening to the Krank Daddies song, it's obvious that there's something, mirthful, something humorous about what it is that you do. I mean, what's your relationship with humor in music? And was there a period of time where you decided that you needed to be serious, or did that just naturally evolve as you began to let go of...
Well, when I was a kid in 4th grade in Mesa, Arizona, I was voted by Mr. Klein most likely to succeed and become a comedian like Johnny Carson.
Awesome.
And it was something that he even wrote. I wish I still had it. But he knew I wanted to be a comedian someday. But that never really happened.
Right.
But so the goofiness, it's always there.
It's always there.
It's always there. The goofiness. And sometimes I go too far with it. I get in trouble. But
it can't be funny unless you sort of tease that border of it being inappropriate. You got to risk it, otherwise it just isn't funny. Kind of like what you were saying, that if the danger isn't there, then people don't get that thrill of oh shit, like I almost died, but no, now I'm dying laughing. Like
I'll tell a story in the Crank Daddies, and it'll be that young girl that we all knew, guys, the one in high school that possessed so much beauty. When you see her, you want to talk to her, but you can't approach her because her beauty is a curse. And then it goes on and on. Yeah. And then it's like, after me and Brian got thrown out of school, we were juniors. About 4 years later, he picked me up in the old Nova, and he says, "Chops, we're going up to the truck stop over the highway. We're going to the nudie book stand, and we're getting the new penthouse today." Yes. And we go there, and Brian gets the penthouse. And I said, "No, today we're getting the Hustler." And he grabbed that Hustler out of my hand and ran out to that old Nova to get masturbate. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, we opened that Hustler up, to the beaver hunt section.
Yeah.
That's when the other guys yell beaver hunt.
The beaver
Right,
hunt.
right.
And there she was, that beautiful young girl from high school, in the pages of the Hustler magazine, in the beaver hunt section. And that's when old Zeppelin comes out with the Polaroid camera.
Gotcha.
And I said, meet us out back by the dumpster in the van. We'll show you what the beaver hunt is.
Fantastic.
Sometimes
dude.
we get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Dumb stories. Sometimes
Sure.
we don't.
Sure.
Why
Beaver
would you
hunt,
get in
dude.
trouble for that, though?
There was one in Amarillo, Texas. This girl, the whole time I was telling the story, was flipping me off.
Right.
The whole time I'm going, oh, look at that young lady out
Yeah.
there flipping me off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. You know, she's like, oh, she's kind of embarrassed
Sure,
about it.
sure.
You know? And everybody else is like looking at her like,
Right.
She was in beaver hunt. That's why.
Yeah.
She thought you were talking about her.
The funny thing is, when I tell the story, and it's just the beginning of the story, how beautiful this young lady was. Oh, and you're talking about my wife. Yeah. By the end of the story, you're not going to want to think so, but if you wanted to be your wife, go ahead.
Yeah. Right.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You know, but it's fun. We get to get away with saying dumb stuff.
Yeah.
I know what that's like. I mean, I've been on stage in between songs and feeling all like I'm going to try to say some stuff between songs, and the band knows to just kind of sit there and wait or whatever, and like, what's it going to be? And it's never been anything rehearsed, so I'm just going off on a limb. And if I land it and I can bring the band back in and end the crowd's laughing, and I did something interesting, usually my wife's going to like hate it.
Yeah.
But on the way home, I'll have to hear, Brian, you've had a little too many tonight. Did you know what you said? Yeah. It's like, what did I say? And she'll be like, it was gross. You said this and this. And I'll be like, did people laugh? Yes. Good. It's good.
You said if my ear were a cunt, I'd fuck it.
If they laugh. But I know what you're talking about. But I think that element, and I don't know, my history has always been people play a song, and you know, when you get into a good rap, you know, somebody shut up and play. It's like, no, bitch, this is my show and this is part of the show. I think that when I used to go see Lynn Allen, my favorite part of the show was hearing Bill Pfeiffer talk. I just liked the way that he talked. It was like seeing a comedy show. And it was all off the cuff stuff, you know, and just like you know, the music's fun, but I really want to hear the talk.
Yeah.
And most people are like, I just want to hear music. I hate it when they talk.
No, man.
It happens.
Yeah. You gotta talk.
It's usually girls, I think.
Yeah, they want to dance. They want to dance. They ain't got time for no talking shit.
Oh, we will be playing at Gabe's, though, in Iowa City. I think it's June 15th. But they couldn't get bands that played in our genre there. So there's a band called Motor Grader going to be playing the show. Other than that, it's hard driving.
Yeah.
So we're going to be playing like a speed metal night over there.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
So come on out to Iowa City, Gabe's, June 15th or 14th. It's a Friday. I don't know.
Whatever that Friday.
So take me through, okay, when you're on your tour and you're out there playing, you know, because I see the Facebook, I'm watching what's going on, and I'm, you know, having my coffee in the morning like I always talk about, and my kids are getting up and everything's, and I'm looking around and I look at you and, oh, we're in wherever tonight and this is happening and all this stuff. Take me through a real day in the life of Chops on the road.
On the road. Get up in the morning at the hotel. Try to get a coffee really fast to build the inside up. So I can use the sit down.
Yep.
I like to use the sit down in the hotel.
Yes.
I don't like to use the sit downs at the truck stops like the other guys do and complain, oh, Chops is using the sit down now. We're gonna be out here waiting, you know, and oh, here comes the maid knocking at the door, you know, because we got to get out. So it's a lot of trying to poop in the morning.
Coffee helps with that.
Yes.
Notice how he
gets me
hasn't
going.
mentioned groupies or cocaine yet.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
cocaine actually, the mention of cocaine actually helps with that for me.
sugar-free ice cream.
Sugar-free ice cream. Sugar-free gummy bears.
Splenda.
we usually decide, should we get gas now? Where should we eat? Should we sit down and eat? Should we go through a McDonald's and eat? Okay, we get that all done. Then we decide, is there any sights we want to see before we get to the show?
Good thinking.
Yeah.
Then we do that. Then we usually go load in at a show, sit around, eat a pizza because that's usually what the club gives you is a pizza and PBRs.
And try to sit down again.
Yeah.
And then you go to the hotel, you know, settle in there, and then you come back to play the show. And, you know, sometimes you got a really great crowd. Sometimes you don't know. And then the exciting part where everybody thinks, oh, the partying starts. That's usually where we help each other, like get rid of skin tags. We have a school have like tonight after the show, meet us at the room. We're having a skin tag removal.
Yeah.
You know? Old fun bags, our old bass player. The first time we told some people we're gonna have a skin tag removal, there was like a prostitute in Nashville by the Taco Bell that wanted to come to the party. Like, no, it's not really happening.
Yeah.
But Fun Bag said, I got a big skin tag under the armpit. And I said, you got to tie like a string thread around it. And he did it. And the next day he got up and it was like a dead black grape hanging about that big under his armpit. So he had to play, and he always wore the cut-off shirts. And that, it was beautiful. But that's kind of like a day in the life of being on the road these days.
Okay.
These days.
Now give me a day in the life back in the Nicky Fox days.
Day in the life in the Nicky Fox days. You didn't know where anybody was. After a show, you're there over here, you're going this way. I'm calling somebody in the morning. I have no idea where I'm at. Because you didn't have cell phones.
Right.
And you call somebody you trust, like my old buddy Marv from Ottawa. And Marv, I don't know where I'm at. I'm in a house somewhere. Well, he goes, either look on the counter and see if you can find mail and see what the address says, or go out front and see if you can see a street sign or an address. And I try to find mail. You know, so I'm at such and such Columbia Drive, blah, blah, this and that. Okay, just sit tight. I'll be there in about 45 minutes. I think I know where that's at. You know. So them were them days.
Okay.
Now compared to these days, them days, you know.
Right.
So much fun, man.
Yeah.
So much fun.
So
everybody would be just.
Yeah. Well, how long do you see yourself doing this, Chops? I mean, are you still riding high on that wave? I mean, is this something that still thrills you every time you do it? Yeah.
I love it. And then with the Crank Daddies, it's not like the old metal days, you know. Back when Nicky Fox was together, I mean, we were 30 years old, you know, and back then, you're either 18 or 24 when you're in a metal band, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And so we were the old men, and them young bands that say, oh, man, we're going to be playing Nicky Fox. Them are the old guys, but they never seen us. Then they'd say, oh, geez.
Yeah.
Them guys really give it all they got, you know. But now, with being in the Krank Daddies, I think I can do this till I'm...
It's still the same thing.
70, 75.
Right.
But, you know, I don't... You still got the hair.
Right. Well,
I don't.
Luckily.
You can still...
But
yeah, I don't want to give nothing up. Yeah,
I didn't really either, but it just didn't fit into my... I'm 45, and I knew I had to make a... veer off or kind of makes it. It was a hard decision to make, but I waited till I was 37 before I finally said, okay, let's have a kid, and I knew at that point that what my sacrifice would be for that. And, at that point I'm like, look, I'm 37. I'm never going to be in Kiss. That's that kid in me, that 12-year-old in my bedroom was still like, man, you still a chance, man. Don't put down your guns quite yet. That chance could come.
I really like the frosted side of this shredded wheat.
Yeah.
But the adults in me.
Exactly. But that was just a decision I made. And I love to see guys like you that are out there having a good time. It doesn't matter. It's not about making it.
Right. Exactly.
It's about making it fun and making it, just making every day it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that and respect that. And that's why I wanted to have you here to talk to you, because you motivate me in a lot of ways. I love to see you doing what you love. And that's that rockabilly, that whole angle of things. It seems like that would be a tough row to hoe. I mean, it's not the most commercial thing that you could, you're not out there trying to write pop music. You're out there doing exactly the opposite of You know, it's you know what I mean.
Well, it's kind of. In a way, it's kind of where I started, though. You know, back listening, to Glenn Campbell and Elvis and Johnny Cash.
Yeah,
you know, kind of comes around and now
reconnects you.
Yeah,
I see this all the time, which is that the people that, or I should say, the music that a person connects with is always like the first music they ever really connected with. I mean, and even if you look at the thread of all the other musics that they get into, the reason why they went in that is because there was something about it that reminded them of that first, initial connection that they had with things. And given the choice, we always want to go back there. My dad still wants to put on Grand Funk records. You know what I mean? Like, he still does. You know what I mean? Like, he still wants to listen to the Grassroots. You know what I mean? Like, to him, that's where it's at.
I think we all do that, though. I mean, I have a radio show where we're playing new local music all the time. And, I listen to it for what it is, but nothing is ever going to compare to the stuff that I was listening to when I was 16. There's nothing, and nothing can beat that. And you talk to somebody that's 10 years older than me, and they'll say that about their era. None of the stuff I liked, I really think that that's something that you have to fall in love with at a young age, and it has to be able to take you to your youth, or it's not going to be something that hooks.
Yeah, I agree.
And stays with you forever,
It's got to integrate. It's got to integrate itself into the immature version of your structure, and then grow itself inside you after that point, and turn into who you become. We
used to do different things on the road. Now, back when our old bass players, we call him High Top. Sometimes he was Fun Bags, but his name was Chris Farrell, and what was it, Kindle? He had the thing on his pad,
right?
And he would read, for instance, the Paul Stanley book.
Oh.
Yeah.
But he would have to do it in Paul Stanley's voice.
Because Brian does that.
We're like,
shit.
okay, it's time for a reading. And he would do the reading, and that we'd do that. And then it'd be like, okay, after the reading, we're gonna listen to the best of the Carpenters.
Okay.
And then we're gonna do that. Right. Now on the way home from Louisville this weekend, it was the power ballads.
Yeah.
4 hours of power ballads.
Yes.
So it was power ballads,
Yes.
But when you get the Sebastian Bach, what was the?
I remember you.
Then you get excited.
Yeah, come on, man. Exactly.
And you get a whole bunch of guys trying to hit them notes, and people calling the cops.
And there was one by Kicks too.
Don't close your eyes.
Close your eyes. Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's a great song.
Yeah.
Kicks. Kid tested, mother approved.
Yeah. Right. I know it was the worst name, It's like, that's cereal, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying is like that era of when all that stuff was magical to me. I'm looking at it on, MTV, and I'm like, that's what is the shit, And I always say, and I've said it before, man, the 80s was the best era for music.
Yeah.
But I'll take that back. I think the late 70s and early 80s.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it was starting to get really good for rock. But then the metal thing was more late 80s, early 90s, really, for me. Those were the Skid Rows and the Queensryches and the Iron Maidens and things like that. It wasn't the Poisons and the Tricksters for me. I didn't like any of that stuff. I could tolerate it, but it wasn't something that spoke to me.
I feel like the encroachment of digital synthesizers really started to cheapen the rich sounds that were happening at the end of the 70s. I mean, when you started, almost as soon as like the Yamaha DX7 came out, there were a couple things that people did with it that were cool, but everything started to have this real big crystalline sheen on it. Everything was too bright, and everything started sounding thin. And it was around that time that's when the nonlinear reverb started coming out, the gated reverb. So every snare had this
Oh yeah, it was huge. Huge.
Like everything had that sound. And to me, like, and that's when, to my ears, like, albums started sounding disjointed, where they sounded just like a collection of songs that didn't make sense with each other, instead of sort of telling a personal story like things did in the 70s. Rock bands were that would do, I mean, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, but then also like the first Foreigner albums, I mean, like, you listen to the sounds of that stuff, it's incredible.
And I love
man.
Styx,
dude, absolutely.
And they do the tours now where they'll do the one album and they'll have it up on the big screen. They'll have somebody putting an album on the screen. Then when the needle drops, boom, the lights hit, and that's when the band starts playing, you know?
Yeah.
Illusions or whatever.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they'll do that, and then it's time to flip the album. And then, the album flips, and then they start the other.
That's amazing.
And they still sound great.
That's amazing.
Man,
well, I mean, even think about what the narrative effect of having a certain number of songs that you could listen to before you had to get up and do something in order to initiate the next section. That changes your whole idea about how an album moves, you know? CDs never made sense to me. Like, CDs used to scare me at the beginning. No, I don't, and I don't mean like the technology or something. Like, literally, because when you'd hit the button, the song would start right away. There was no little leader. You know what I mean? I needed that little bit of time to cope with the idea that the song was going to start after I fixed the thing, you know, and so there was just something that got lost. The artwork wasn't as good because you went from having a picture this big that could work almost like a poster to having this little shit, you know, like you couldn't even make out the chick, you know what I mean? Like,
I still don't have the iPod thing and all of that.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I still got to put an album on at home or a CD.
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
There's something about it that it's like it keeps it sacred, and I think that's the thing that's really kind of missing. Why it is that the audiences for literally all musics at this point have waned is because nobody really holds the music sacred. It's too easy to get.
Yeah,
you can just take it in, throw it out.
It's valueless.
Nothing. It's valueless. It's here today, gone tomorrow. Who cares? It isn't. It's the soundtrack to my minute. It's not the soundtrack to my life. You know what I mean?
It's
all
like
of that.
If you ever like listen to Foghat Live,
yes,
sit back on the couch and just. Oh, look at all the pictures. Oh, look what they're doing there. Oh, gee. All that
and
stuff.
the sound, as you're hearing it, you associate it with the pictures that you're looking at, right?
Yeah. Oh, and if something happens to your record, you don't get to listen to that music now. You know what I mean? You took care of it, man. You were like, oh, this is, you know what I mean? Like, top of the pyramid,
I hated
man.
when I loan my albums out to somebody. First thing I do is when I get back is look at them. Look, I never had a fingerprint on this album.
Right.
Where's this
I did. My mom was buying me Kiss records when I was 7, and that was a little early for a kid because, you know, when they wrote the song Beth, I hated it.
Yeah, right.
Because I was like, this is not Kiss. This is bullshit. We don't need that track on there. So I just I took a freaking needle and just ground out a groove.
So now the needle would just go
from or Do You Love Me to God of Thunder. Just fuck that song right there. That whole thing is gone. Like a groove like that wide, just right.
Yeah.
Here you go. Fuck that. Now it's fixed.
Yep. Exactly.
There was your skip button.
Auto skip. Meanwhile, your stylus is going.
Yeah, it made a hell of a sound when it went through that groove. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I'll bet, man. Yeah, that's bad.
That, and then you'd have one skip, right? And then you'd know the song that way.
Right.
Do you ever have that?
Yeah.
Sometimes they would skip, but then it would finally get past the skip because you'd have to go either nudge it or put a penny on it. I don't know how you did it. How did you do it? I pressed down on it a little bit.
Move them.
Now it's on God of Thunder.
To this day, the Boston song, It Isn't Easy. It isn't easy, I know. You know that song?
Yes.
To this day, at the part where he says, I got this feeling inside and inside and inside and inside. Like, to this day, when that song comes on the radio, it's like I internally brace for it to start skipping. And then when it doesn't, it's like, oh, it's like there's something, it's like some kind of weird letdown. Like, you know it's supposed to do that, you know?
I had a hard time understanding what they were saying when I was 7. Like, you know, when Paul Stanley said, "You like my 7-inch leather heel," I thought he was saying salmon inch.
Salmon inch. You like my salmon inch.
You like my salmon inch. And I was like, what's a salmon inch? Now try to think about this, Brian. And I was like, well, I'll bet you the salmon inch is where he puts all them little stars on his crotch. I bet he's talking about his crotch.
Yeah.
That's his salmon inch.
Right.
Mom, what's a salmon inch? She's like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, he's saying salmon inch. She said, he's saying 7-inch. And you don't need to know what he's talking about. Oh, I got another one, Mom. What is Gene talking about when he said she's been around, but she's young and clean? Well, it means that she's been around the block a few times and she takes showers a lot.
There you go, man.
I'm like, why would he want to say that?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
She doesn't smell bad.
Mom, now he said he wants to put his log in her fireplace. Is that what is? You know what? What's a kid to do? I'm running around the house. I want to put my leg. You know, it's like all this, I'm gonna put my log in your fireplace. You know, all these things. I'm like, oh, these are all sexual innuendos. I get it.
You sing all them songs with all that in there?
One or two.
Yeah, you were in a Kiss tribute band. You played Gene.
Yep.
Yeah, and you told me it was like the later era Kiss stuff though, and you wore.
We played everything, but yeah, we dressed like Dressed to Kill.
Because the
wore
first
suits.
When you first got here, I was Rock and Roll All Night was on the radio out in the other room there, and you were like, I could go my whole life without ever hearing that song again. And I was like, I know, I hate that song, but why do you hate it?
Yep.
And you're like, I had to play it all the time.
3 years.
Oh, that and God of Thunder and all that stuff. Yeah. Jesus.
Man, you were just talking about that the other day in the van.
Because I want to rock and roll one more time and then never again. I think that's the lyric.
Everybody go to your YouTubes and put in.
Because the internet is a series of tubes.
Right. Oh, God, what did they call it? It was Kiss Tribute Fail or something like that. And DePaul comes out. And he's singing. He's like, "Oh yeah, he's got the big black hair, and they look pretty. They look like a pretty good tribute band." Until Paul's wig flips off the back of his head, and here he is bald, and he's got to do the trap back to try to pick up his wig, and, like put it back on. You know what I mean? That would be the most embarrassing thing. And you know, they all really wear wigs, so I'm surprised that hasn't happened to them in real life.
Yeah,
They got good wigs.
They have good wigs.
Right.
They're like glued on or something.
Yeah.
RC, our drummer for the Crank Daddies, about 4 months ago, we went to Joliet to see this band. I think they were called Love Drive, or so. It was a Scorpions tribute band, and the guy that was Matthias Jabs, you know, he was wearing a hat like he would, but at one point during the show, the hat fell off, and his hair was just, there was nothing up here, but it was just, I never seen anybody bald like that to where it was just,
it's like a perfect,
nothing there. He just kept going, and they were good though. But I just seen this guy, it must have been like Germany's Got Talent, and this guy came out and he did Klaus Main.
Scorpion stuff.
Can't remember the song, but he came out looking like Klaus Main, and I happened to the point where I had to actually go and look at pictures to make sure it really wasn't him. This guy was so good.
He's doing like Winds of Change or something like that.
Now, isn't that name Klaus Meine?
Klaus Meine?
Is it Klaus Meine? You would know. You're a historian.
Klaus Meine would be
Klaus
the
Meine?
German. Right. And Matthias Jabs. Yeah.
And it's spelled different.
Yeah, I'm a dorky.
It's all spelled different too, like in American.
Yeah.
My wife and I were watching an old Scorpions video on Rock Block or something on TV. It was late at night. We were drunk. And I was like, Danelle, tell me how any of these guys, look, the video shows these girls like trying to get at them. Like there's a cage holding them back, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I gotta get to that fucking singer. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Or that other half bald guy. You know, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And she's like, because ain't none of them good looking, man. I'm like, was that the power of rock? All you had to do was put a guitar on, and they didn't care about your receding hairline anymore.
Nope, they didn't care about none of that, man.
Yeah, but that was borderline when the MTV thing was happening, and you could be ugly and be famous.
Yeah.
But then that whole looks thing changed, man. The Scorpions wouldn't make it in this market now today at all.
Well, they were just waiting for some technology to arrive to make it so that you could just choose people based on how they look and not how they sang, and then it wouldn't matter how they sang. And they tried pulling that shit off with like Paula Abdul and with fucking Milli Vanilli and shit, and got variously busted for that. But then auto-tune dropped sometime at the end of the 90s, and now you could put fucking good sounding singing with any face that you could find that was good. As long as they could dance, man, you got something you can sell, you know? That sucks, man. That undermined the music of everything, dude.
Dance a storm up, boy.
Oh, they did, man. Those dudes were, you know,
Girl, you know it's true.
I especially like their cameo appearance on NBC's Sister Kate or whatever the hell it was.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
She's a nun and she's getting down to some Milli Vanilli.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So
awful.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But I hope you had a good time doing MDR. I think it's going on like an hour and 45 minutes. I know you were looking at your watch over there. So And you're coming from Peru, right?
Yeah.
So you got quite a drive ahead of you.
Yeah, you got to drive through Central America, which that's like a really far
Let me
drive.
tell you one thing, though. When we got just about halfway here, it started pouring.
No shit.
To the point
Oh,
where
man.
you couldn't even see.
Right.
There was a semi in front of me.
You wait for an
and
overpass.
Sometimes I could see the taillights, and you can't. It's like, wow. It was really raining good.
Although I do have one question
It's
for you.
exciting.
When you flush the sit down south of the equator, is it true that the water does run the other
Yes.
direction?
Not down that area.
Okay, all right.
Which way?
No, wait.
I don't even know where south
South
is.
would be that way.
I'm just
But-
exercising this newfound term, sit downs.
That's the one thing when you play all the clubs we do. The first thing you do is check out the sit down.
Right.
You go into the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, if
unless
it's
you're
bad
gonna go to
deal.
the Hardee's or whatever. You
Right.
know.
Right.
But it's always been that way. Like if you were playing a club in Chicago, you knew that you weren't going to be able to take a dump there.
Right.
So you knew that about a half a block down there was a restaurant or something
Excellent, yeah.
that had the nice toilet. And you knew places by their toilets.
Toilets, exactly, man. I mean, that's, yeah.
So the tour itinerary is based around like, okay, so say if David Lee Roth, I mean, he's got a nice hotel room, right, to use, right?
Sure,
So
right.
he doesn't have to worry about it,
Right.
Because I know you don't go on the tour bus.
Not
That was
supposed to.
rule number one. If I've ever been on anybody's tour bus, they're like, I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. They're like, number one, only, only.
right, yeah.
But then there was the whole putting a plastic bag over the toilet, and then you got to catch it and take it and throw it out on the road. Or what? You never throw it on the road.
No,
You don't do that.
unless you're Dave
no.
Matthews Band, then you throw it in the Chicago River.
In the river,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I was gonna say, you know,
So we're having. We took a little break
Much
there,
better
and we're back. We were having some relationship talk.
yeah, we were.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself.
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad we had that talk. You're
Go
welcome.
home and make love with me.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had a conversation about how women and rock and roll mix,
Right.
and sometimes, it's like oil and water.
Yeah, and rarely does it make something as delicious and wonderful as mayonnaise.
I equate it to this: if you catch a chick, right, and you take her off the hook, and then you bait your hook again and cast it in the water. Basically, that's what you're doing being in a rock band, is baiting your hook and
Yeah.
baiting chicks.
Yeah.
So they're looking at that like, oh, am I not the catch? Or, so, no, this is all an act. We're
Right.
just having fun. This is rock and
Right.
roll. But
And
there are
everybody uses different bait.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But whatever the bait is, I'm still baiting that hook to her. And to me, I'm just trying to have fun and make money. I'm like, I
Right.
ain't going to find no hotter chick than you here. Not at a rock show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not going to be hotter chicks than you at a rock show, honey.
Yeah.
Trust me.
That's a good metaphor because
Right.
Because not
once
anymore.
Once you
You
get once you
got
get
that right.
what is it? When you catch a trophy fish, what you're really supposed to do is throw it back. And what really ends up happening is every now and again there's a fish that just like jumps back in the boat. You know what I mean? Like jumps back in the boat.
Actually, when you come to
Yeah.
the Crank Daddy show, it's all lovely women.
Yeah. I would imagine that, of course.
They're all lovely. And they're all taken by our friends.
Right.
Well,
that's probably
being
true.
an 80s hair metal tribute band, the crowd is changed. Wow, I said that right on the podcast, didn't I?
Yep.
See, before we end this podcast, Chops, you've got to give me just one Chops story.
One chop story.
Yeah, give me a good one.
We played this one place one time, and it was, I guess I can say it's in Savannah. I won't mention the club, but for one thing, as soon as we started, you were way too loud. You're just too loud.
Oh, one of them nights.
And you're at the lowest point.
Right.
Of the, you can't get a sound out of it anymore. That
Right.
even. So you're playing, and I'm telling stories, and they're laughing, And then we had to play a couple sets. When the second set comes around, now people are getting a little hammered up, and the story comes up, and these two ladies over here, they don't want to hear the story no more, and they're sitting with the biker guy who's going, like, looking at me like, sorry, guy, and these two women are with me, but I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about it. Now, by the time that set's getting over, he's getting hammered, and he's yelling, shut up! And they're flipping me off, and he's hammered up.
Right.
And I'm saying, would you like to have your cover back? We didn't pay a cover. Well, there you go. I'm going to finish my story. Anybody want to should I finish my story? No, please. So now the guy and the two ladies get up and they come up by the front of the stage. And he's looking at me like, oh, all right. Now you're going to find out. And now I don't realize this, but some friends of mine that live up around that area, they're gathering around because they think that the biker guy, he's going to be waiting outside with a couple friends. So now they're saying, okay, you wait for this guy. You're going to get that guy. When he comes back, you get it. And they told me that when we got off stage. Don't worry. You know, we got everything handled now. Like, well, what's going to happen? Just wait. We don't want to go outside yet. You know, nothing ever happened.
That's
I'm like, holy shit, we're going to get killed because of this stupid story.
Now, was it the same story? Was it that same story? Was it the beaver hunt story?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
No, it was about the homely women living in Alaska.
Oh. Well, that sounds like a terrific.
But that was wholesome. In the 1100s.
All right.
When Christopher Columbus lived in the islands of Alaska and wanted these women, because they were so hideous, they wanted him to build him a kayak so he can go discover other things.
Right.
And that's what happened. And that's what the story was about. Because you couldn't find an ugly woman in Alaska today. Let me tell you that. They're beautiful. They're all beautiful.
They're all beautiful.
But yeah, sometimes, you know, motorcyclists want to beat you up.
They do. That's true. That's true. They're a fighting breed.
You know, Chops, at the beginning of this podcast, I was thinking, we asked, did you want to be in character or did you want to be you? And what's beautiful about this is the entire time you were you, man. And, you know, because I've talked to you off the record when we're not doing anything like this, and I like Chops. You know what I mean? I like you as a person, and you don't have to have the suit on and all that stuff to entertain me. You know what I mean? So, I respect you. You're one of a kind, man. You know. Thank you very much for coming and talking with us, man. And
I appreciate you having us.
Thanks for the Kiss golf ball.
You're welcome. And I swear to God, when we were in Las Vegas playing that Kiss Goofy golf game, and they had these golf balls, the first thing I said, I got to get one of them for Brian when we go do that podcast.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And if you ever wonder, Chops, the answer is yes. People do love you. They do. Everybody I talk to has nothing but good things to say about you. Whenever you say Chops, it's almost like you get street cred saying the name.
Thank you.
It's so cool.
Appreciate it.
Especially in the circle of people that I respect. So, very cool. So if you ever wonder, there's nobody's laughing at you. They're laughing with you.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on to MDR. Thanks, guys. It was fun, Travis.
Yep. It was good, man. As usual,
brother.
man. We haven't done one in a while. It's so good to be back.
Yeah, I'm getting back in shape.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, thank you very much. This is Minor Disturbance Radio on 90. No, it's not. Thank you very much. This is Minor Disturbance Radio.
In Brian's basement. For nobody but ourselves. Peace.
Yeah. Oh shit, I said that.